Hey everybody, this is Chuck Rowe from Midwest Studies Group. Glad you could join us today. Usually we like to meet people in person, but because of the times, we've been doing a lot more webinars just like this. Today, I am joined by the great,
Great.
almighty, all-knowing.
It's my halo.
Well, you know, so now, Gary, it's a beautiful day in Iowa right now.
Yes, it
You
is.
could be doing anything in the world. You're choosing to join me. You're a good man.
Well, this would be the first thing I'd choose on any day, Chuck. Seriously, an opportunity to connect with you is always fun. We've worked together. We've been friends in this community a long time.
Well, once upon a time when people were allowed to see each other, shake hands, and give each other hugs, it was such a great time to see you all over town and work on projects together and things like that.
Well, we share some passions, and well, I think one of the greatest passions that we share are for kids.
You bet.
Giving them a better opportunity, a healthier and safer opportunity. Your work with Boys and Girls Club, I've been with court-appointed special advocates. To me, and I'm going off subject here, I suppose, the greatest responsibility we have as adults is to create a better environment for our kids.
Well, before we even talk about your past, one of the things I did want to talk about is your work in the nonprofit world. And
Yeah.
you do spend when you came back to Cedar Falls, something I've been really impressed with is how much time you spend with local nonprofits. And why is that?
Well, it's hard to answer that question and not sound like I'm gloating or bragging. But I think I'm a Midwestern kid. I have great parents. My father's passed away, but social justice has always been instilled in me. Giving back, caring, taking care of the most vulnerable among us, children, elderly, people with any sort of disability. It's been ingrained in me my whole life. My mother was one of the first teachers with Head Start, one of the very first. And so I've always cherished the opportunity to be able to lend a hand. So when I came back here and people thought I had something to say, I had a little bit of cachet from Saturday Night Live and some stuff like that. When they asked me to MC or host or do a benefit for you, Boys and Girls Club or United Way or American Heart Association, CASA, et cetera, hospitals, I was flattered. Flattered. So how do you say no when someone like you calls to say, Gary, would you lend your time, just a little bit of time, to help us raise money or raise awareness? It feels like my responsibility to say, yeah, if you think that people will listen to me, then by all means, you've got me.
Well, when you think of some of the events and the projects and things that you've done in the past with nonprofits, what's one that just really excited you the most that you said, gosh darn it, I'm so glad I got to be part of that?
Well, I'm going to say Boys and Girls Club means a big deal because you asked me to be part of raising, funds and putting together materials and things like that. And I so thoroughly enjoyed the team you put together and the work we put in. I was very proud of, and to do the videos for you and things. I look at those and I go, wow, that's stuff that I'm really, really proud of. I've been involved with CASA now, Court-Appointed Special Advocates for Abused and Neglected Children, for about 4 years. And so I've sort of become the regional spokesperson and hosting the breakfast fundraiser awareness breakfasts and other events coming up, which have all been changed due to COVID-19. And that has given me real fulfillment. I found a mission in life, and that is, and I've said this already, is to protect our kids, is to give them educational opportunities, opportunities to better themselves, develop their talents, take them out of abusive situations, be aware of what creates those situations, give them mentors, which is very much part of Boys and Girls Club. That's become a life's work for me.
Well, there's only one Gary around and a billion different places that really need a person like you to speak for them. And because of that, a lot of times nonprofits put some videos together. And this is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is because your expertise, I mean, you spend time at Mud Advertising and then with Outliner Creations, you're also doing videos and marketing help for tons of different companies and nonprofits. But talking about videos for a second, when you go to an event and you see those 12, 15-minute long videos that are full of just testimonies, I mean, gone are the days of having those 15-minute videos, right?
Yes, they are.
So,
Yeah.
so, Yeah, what would be like a for a nonprofit wanting to tell their story? How long of a video would you suggest?
You know, it all depends on what you're trying to do, who's in the audience, who's invited. Are you trying to get new people involved? There is a tendency to go too long because even the most committed people have an attention span that starts to wander. Now, granted, there are people who would love to watch 30 minutes of kinds of things, but by and large, you want to tap into their emotional center, their core, and get to a call to action. You know, I'm in the television commercial business. You lose people at 30 seconds, 45 seconds for a longer, production, and the car went off, the lights changed, they become distracted. We've become a very impatient society, I think, even more and more so. So, in answer to your question, coming at it in sort of a roundabout way, really 3 or 4 minutes. That seems like a relatively short period of time, but you don't want to give all of the information. You just want people to be excited and want to know more. You want the emotional touch points to get people to reach into their wallet, pull out their credit card, pick up the phone, go to the website. And you don't want to go farther than that. You know, again, the tendency is, well, let's answer all the questions they could possibly have in one video. I think you lose more than you gain from the sizzle. Now, it's hard to talk about, the needs of children and abused kids and looking for the sizzle, but you are looking for the emotional, impactful moments. I can impact you right now, Chuck, with 3 words. I don't need to go into a 10-minute play, or images of
Yeah.
subject matter. That's enough to get you to pay attention and then to give you an avenue quickly, relatively quickly, where you can help. I have this belief that we all want to help. We just don't know how. We don't want to look stupid, and we don't want to make mistakes. We don't want to be told, oh, you don't know how to do this. Everybody wants to help. So make it simple.
Well, let
Make
me
it
ask you.
very simple.
Well, keeping it simple, let me ask you this: is that a lot of times, when you watch these videos that nonprofits put together, it'll be layered with board members and staff members just giving these testimonies of, 44% this and 95% this, and we do this percent that. If you could break down in statistics, just a simple out of 100%, how much of your video would you want there to be of maybe a stat or two, and then how much would you spend on stories of the nonprofit?
Well, the stories work when it's a true, genuine, emotional story that impacted. If you can't have the person, let's say the victim or whatever we're talking about, but you have someone like an advocate, if they tell the emotional story of what happened and how they were brought this, people will listen and they will be at the edge of their chairs listening to that. The statistical information is just a way to thread that together. But when you go into the depths of things, nobody's walking around taking notes like this of all the statistics. All you want are the impactful moments. If there's big numbers, 1 out of 10,000 or whatever it is, that move the story, put that in there. But in general, Chuck, when I watch these videos and it's the CEO and the CFO and so on and so forth, I say to them, hey, guys, this is good for your Christmas reel. But this isn't looking for that you want to connect with.
Well, when you see these videos, and again, you've been to a billion events. So the reason why I'm asking you this is because you've been to a billion events, plus you make videos for a living. You go to events and you see this video that's obviously done on someone's phone, and the camera is even from the phone, the microphone is used from someone's phone, and then the editing is probably using someone's phone.
Your laptop.
When you're watching this, what's going through your mind when you're seeing that quality?
Well, sometimes that sort of rough quality can be a part of your video because it looks honest and it looks spontaneous. But in general, people are more comfortable with production value. That's why you see these nice testimonials that are lit well, because it makes people comfortable and less distracted. You can use those elements, but I think for the most part, you have to spend the money, and that doesn't mean you have to spend a lot of money, but you have to find a production company or someone who knows how to put these together, that has the equipment, that understands editing, that understands pacing. It is important to hire a professional when you can. It's a sliding scale out there. I mean, you know very well, I will work in trade out, or simply in kind, simply because I want to be part of this, or I want my company's name to appear there. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to save money, but it's best when it is in the hands of professional consultants and professional production companies.
So when there's a nonprofit out there that might not have the money, and maybe they don't even have, they don't even have that resource they could do a trade with. If there's something they had to invest in, I mean, investing in maybe a camera and just a microphone, things like that. Any suggestions that you have as far as what kind of product, not necessarily the name of a product, but as far as like a manufacturer name, but as far as a product they should invest in, what would it be?
That's a tough one to answer, only because if you can put the best product in the world with somebody who doesn't know angles and lighting and things like that and sound, it's meaningless. The most important thing is to find some schmuck like me. I'm not making a pitch here for me, but the most important, and there's tons of college students studying film and editing, to find someone who knows how to, because this has got a digital camera as good as anything. Now, the additional thing you have to remember when making these videos is the most important production value is sound. Because if you're straining to hear something, or it's breaking up and people are having to, that takes people out of the frame of mind that you want them in. I don't mind seeing a rough picture if I can hear it well. So again, the production value really comes down to the person doing it.
Well,
Now,
like this Zoom webinar, the high quality of this video.
but here's the thing, Chuck. When the news first started doing this because of COVID-19 and lockdowns, right? I think I was going, oh my goodness, this is so cheap. She's in her own library. The cat just went by. But notice in the last 2 months how we've started to get used to it. I kind of like it now. The first Saturday Night Live that was from home, Saturday Live at home or whatever, I'm going, how are they ever going to make this funny? Guess what? They're nailing it now.
The first one I had a rough time watching, but
yes,
they caught up.
Now it's pretty good. They figured it out. Some of this, even when we go back to normal, some of this is going to stay because it's spontaneous, and that says honest, says real, in the moment. You've gotten used to it. So I would say to anybody, use elements like this. For example, Chuck, I'm putting together a video on breast cancer for a client, and I can't get out to interview everybody, and they don't have the budget. There's a non-for-profit going on. They don't have the budget. I'm going to do what I can when I can get into the hospital and talk to a doctor. There's going to be a lot of interviews just like this that will be part of it. Looks low production value, but it's going to be put into the video as part of the story and part of the immediacy.
You bet. And you're right. I think being the authentic interviews that you could do on a platform like this will make it really important for, I think, the viewer. Because at first, I think it was hard to watch, but you're right. I think the more that time goes on, the more that it's appreciated by folks. And
yeah, if I spent a little more time here, I would have done my lighting so it didn't look like I was out in the sun. Actually, I was planting today, so maybe I am a little sunburned, to be honest.
So, well, let me ask you about your past for a second. Everyone loves talking about your past, and I don't know if you love talking about it, but we love
that. I do. Are you kidding me?
So, once upon a time, you, Drew, Louis Dreyfus, Brad Hall, are all brought to Saturday Night Live. Was it 1982?
Yeah,
something around there, right?
Yep.
So, what was more fun for you, the acting or the writing?
Oh, wow. I'm going to say the acting because that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I wanted to be an actor. And so, uh, but when I was there, I discovered quickly, we all discovered quickly, in order to get on the air, you had to write the bit because the main writers, they weren't going to write for me. They were going to write for Eddie Murphy, Joe Piscopo, later Billy Crystal, Martin Short, so on and so forth. So for me to get on the air, I had to write my own stuff. So now when I look back, I sort of cringe at some of the comedic acting that I did. But I look at the things that I wrote and I go, you know what? There's a beginning, middle, and end. It's about something. In retrospect, it's the writing.
Well, when you think of Saturday Night Live and you think of improv, because you did improv before that, um, it's a unique kind of acting. And even the humor on Saturday Night Live could be very unique. Your mother watches it for the first time. She sees you on there. What does she say? She's like, what is this? Like, I don't get it. Or what was her first comments to you when she saw us?
I have, my parents were both
playing El
alive.
Dorco, and she's like, what?
I don't think 80% of it she cared for. But she knew that her son was sensitive. So after every show, the first thing I did was go to my dressing room and say, Mom, Dad, did you see it? And if I had something in the show, they would respond, but they learned to say, oh yeah, that was good. The wig was funny. You know, I don't think they really connected to it. And I know I did some things that they probably wish that I hadn't. They always responded with, oh, well, you got some airtime this week. That's my mother, not my father, by the way. And she does talk like that, so I'm not being sexist. My mother talks like this and say, oh, I thought that you got on a lot of sketches this week. I liked it. What do you like best? Oh, I don't know. I don't know which one I like the best in. I don't think it's all just images.
Yeah.
Bonnie
and Marie, of course.
Yeah, she did not like that.
So
it's incest. I'm kissing my sister. I didn't care for that at all.
So Donnie and Marie, let's go that for a second. Like, what was the conversation like before or after or during? I don't know, with Brad Hall during this time. I mean, how does that go?
I've been doing theater with Brad and Julia for years previous to that, and we were such brothers and sisters in just this melting pot of goofy that Brad didn't bat an eye with me kissing his to-be wife, his girlfriend at the time. Didn't care. If he did, he's never revealed it. But I don't think, because Julia is 100% committed to whatever she's doing. I mean, that was always our thing. If it's funny, do it. And that particular sketch, I didn't write it. Whoever wrote the Gumby Christmas special came up with this, and it was like, Kroeger, you'd be good for Donnie, Julia, you're Marie, and you sing together, you get closer and closer, and you start to make out. I thought, oh, that's such a stupid joke, but we'll do it. Well, it got a huge laugh.
Yeah.
What everybody talked about. So guess what? A couple weeks later, same joke. We're doing a special. We get closer together, and we make out. And then we do it again. It's a St. Patty's Day special. She's pregnant. The horrible insinuation. And then we make out. Same joke every time.
And it probably, Brad wouldn't have thought it was as funny if you actually were the writer of it. Then he would probably say, hey, what's going on here?
If he thought that I'd engineered a way to kiss his girlfriend, maybe he would have had a problem. But at the same time, it's like, if it's funny, you know, we've never, ever had an argument about such things.
Well, then, if there is one character that right now, on the spot, you could do again, like you just miss doing it so much, which character would that be for you?
Well, you mentioned El Dorco, and the reason I like El Dorco was I like sketches that have a reason, that there's a point. And this point of, here was this kid in high school, they called him El Dorco because he was so nerdy, and he gets picked on. But in every sketch with El Dorco, he ends up getting the girl. His heart is so clear that, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis wants to go out with him, and again, he makes out with Julia. So maybe there is a running theme there. I like that because I like to see the little guy win. I like to see him defy the odds that big tough guys are intimidated by. So it was just a nerd. I don't even remember how I talked like him. Probably something like this. Glasses, very stereotypical nerd guy. But he was just very authentic. He was just a sweet, warm-hearted guy that thought things that weren't funny were funny, and he gets the girl. So I miss El Dorco.
Well, then after the show, though, you did a couple of game shows, I think, right? And is there what was your favorite absolute game show? Or maybe it was like one of the movies you did afterwards. I don't know, but what was your favorite thing you did after Saturday Night Live?
Well, I did this low-budget film that still keeps coming up, and even on Netflix once in a while, called A Man Called Sarge. We did it in Israel. It's a funny movie with funny moments, but it's not a great film. But the experience of being with this great group of people, we became the best of friends in Israel for 6 weeks, was so magical that I'll never forget it. I'm still friends with these, and it's 30 years later. We're still friends. I still put it on with a cigar in the garage and a glass of wine and remember how young I was. That was thrilling, but I loved doing game shows, Chuck, because first of all, you work 3 days a week. So the rest of every other week, it's all put in the bank because you do 5 to 7 shows a day, 3 days in a row, which is a really tough 3 days. But then you're off for a week and a half, spending the money you just made. And I would fly, back and forth between Florida and California, and I really enjoyed that. And when people would say, "But Kroeger, you're a game show host," I said, "Yeah, but here's the thing: it's not all about money." But I was making great money, right? Which is nice for my family. But my job was to play games with people and give them cash and prizes. My job was to have fun, to get to know you, play games with you, and then give you $2,500 and a trip to Acapulco. That's not a bad job.
Not a bad job, yeah.
Job is to make people happy and entertain them and have fun. And so in a way, game shows, believe it or not, were the perfect scenario for everything that I wanted to do. I'm acting, I'm having fun, and I'm making people happy. I'm entertaining them. I got tons of laughs. One of the funniest moments ever is I'm doing the new Newlywed Game, and a guy, and the question is, where's the strangest place you ever made whoopee? The classic. I don't know if we called it whoopee with my version, but where? And the girl said, well, when we were dating, we went to the back. I worked at the dollar store, and we did it in the back room. And I said, well, that's getting a bang for your buck, which of course I thought was very funny.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah. But the point of the story is spontaneously having fun with people who are there to have a friendly competition, and hopefully somebody wins $10,000.
It got me thinking, because we talked about doing a video together. Maybe we should put together a little game show, a little Cedar Valley game show. I don't know what that would look like or how it would work, but we got to do it. You're the host.
Well, okay, and I would be the appropriate host. And here's how we do it. We find a cause, no matter what it is. Raise money for boys and girls, raise money for CASA. We invite local celebrities, meaning maybe elected officials, the mayor, et cetera, and we do some sort of game show like Beat the Clock, which was a fun way to have couples compete with other couples doing completely ridiculous things like passing an egg chin to chin without breaking it. Goofy things that are family-oriented fun to raise money. Everybody in the studio audience has to pay money, and maybe we even Zoom it so that people pay money to watch.
I love it.
I think I actually do love it a lot.
You got to figure out how to make this work.
Yeah.
Now, before I ask you a final question here, to get your marketing services, even though you call yourself a schmuck, I don't think it's called Schmucks Are Us or anything. Tell us, how could people get a hold of you if they need some marketing assistance?
Well, Outlier Creative Solutions is a website, www.outliercreativesolutions.com. I'll repeat that, outliercreativesolutions.com. That's our list of services. And we focus in customer service techniques. I teach an improv class, which has become very popular to corporations, where people come in and we play harmless, safe games, where people learn to listen, trust, they learn to build teams. We also have other team building programs. Bob Justice teaches the Disney customer service paradigm. Those are our real strength areas, but we also have web design. My wife is a brilliant user experience manager. Bob's wife, Bob Justice's wife, Nancy, is a great copywriter. So we've been writing commercials for local banks and things like that, but our services are there. So outliercreativesolutions.com is the best way to find us.
So
Better than phone numbers.
yeah, yeah. And, you know, we've used you before, and you do
Yes.
a great job. Your team is awesome. But let me ask you this one last question. You know, now, does it make you laugh at all when trying to think of, when you thought of, like, when you were before Saturday Night Live, you're eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all day, every day. Now you're seeing your son who's trying to get into acting. You see what he eats. You see where he lives. He's trying to be an up-and-comer. What kind of memories come up? What makes you laugh when you see him live the way he does?
Well, wow, that's a big question. Um, I what makes me laugh is what gives me joy. You know, I went to see my son in LA before all this happened, end of January, early February, and he had finally gotten a job as a singing waiter in a very popular Italian restaurant, which, go figure, where did I get the idea for such a thing? And to see my son take over a room, and this is a room of people dining, you know, to take over and to command with a Billy Joel song or an Elton John song or something from Hamilton was such a joy to me. We even got up and sang a song together. It was such a joy for me to see my son click on the switch and take over. That's the happiest, even funniest thing for me. And my advice to him, though, is and this is my advice to anyone, you got to jumpstart this thing every day. Every day, every single day, move the needle. Move the needle. As an actor, I'd say, son, there is no day off. Do an extra push-up. Learn to ride horses. Learn to fence. Read a play. Eat better food. Make a connection. Go out. Do something to move the needle every day. Because it's only when you reach a certain critical mass that the options become exponential. But there's never a day off. That's my rule of thumb to everybody. You can go on vacation, but don't take the day off. Do something to improve your body, your mind, your spirit.
And once you make that $100 million per film, then you might get an extra day or two to do something. But until then, you just need to keep on working and clawing your way.
On your way, because eventually it stops, and we don't know for sure what's after that. So, you know, that's why I like to maximize every day.
Well, you know, I know a lot of people after they watch this video are going to get a kick out of listening to your stories, but also learning about how they can help out nonprofits, whether they're a nonprofit staff member or a board member. They now have a tip or two on how to make their videos better for their nonprofit and how to communicate their message better. So,
well, and if they contact me, I do a lot of stuff for free because I want future business. So if something, you know, I give a lot of stuff away because it's an investment. Not everything has to turn a dime. So if someone were to say, what do you think of this? I will happily give some instruction of what I think for what it's worth, because hopefully down the line, you're going to do bigger and better. Go, hey, you know, that guy really helped. You know what? It's all an investment.
Well, thanks a lot for joining, Gary. Really appreciate it. Chuck Rowe from Midwest Studies Group. You can learn more about us at our website, midweststudiesgroup.com, and you can learn about the feasibility studies and the community impact studies that we do. But also thank you again to Gary for joining us. See you next week, everyone.